There we go. We are live on YouTube, and I'm going to share it on our Facebook page as well, so they should find it right where they were watching the show. Yeah, whichever one they're watching, they should be able to find it.
Yeah, I can see that we're live on Facebook.
Oh, good.
Should we get out and come back in or what?
Nope, you're good. Okay, give me. Nope, you're good.
Oh, so people won't be seen. They'll just be in the background?
People will just be, they comment and we answer questions and comments.
Okay. My son says he's watching Talkback through YouTube.
Yep, we're on YouTube, and then the link is also on Facebook, so I think it'll stream to Facebook, and if not, they can click the link and it'll take it to them. So it should be on the Facebook too.
Okay.
It's on both the Facebook and the YouTubes. I have tried to admit Elaine 3 times, and it still won't let her in. I don't know what's going on with that.
It hasn't opened on the live stream yet, he says, somebody.
It should be live on YouTube, and if Facebook will have a link to the live, if not the live itself. It should be there right now. Sometimes it just takes a minute to post it because Facebook is fun sometimes.
I can see it on Facebook, but not on YouTube yet.
Okay, so yeah, Facebook, it was only short. I'm going to get rid of that because that was the bad one. And then we have the full.
Redid it.
Yep, the link is up to go to the Talkback on YouTube. I'm going to add a title to it so we see what it is.
But people on YouTube can get it straight, right?
We are
Yes.
right. We are broadcasting. We are streaming on YouTube right now.
Okay. Is that link accessible through the Facebook event page?
Yep.
Okay.
It's
Someone's asking.
It will be. It is on our main Facebook page, and I'm dropping it in the event page as we speak. Just takes a minute to get to all the different places we got stuff. Where did it go?
Everybody gets to see the fun that goes into making the sausage.
Oh, of course they do. This is the good part.
Maybe tomorrow we can figure out what to do, right?
This is the part that's always like this, and we used to panic during this part.
Okay.
Now we just enjoy it.
Unfortunately, yeah, there's no faster way to do this because I have to do each one separate.
I think once you work out the procedure exactly, we tell them at the end of the play exactly what to do. You know what I mean? As well as at the beginning, and hopefully that will. But are the actors there?
Are you on your phone?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I'm near my phone, right? Why?
Well, I mean, are you on your computer?
I'm on my computer.
Okay.
Yeah, can you see all the actors? Most of them are here.
Yeah. Hey, brilliant work, my goodness. It clipped along so well. Brilliant work, honestly. Congratulations.
Okay.
All of you. Well,
thank you. For people watching on YouTube, if you have any questions, if you put them in the comments, we will answer them if you have any questions or comments about the show. Don, do you want to go back over our mission while we're waiting for people and talk about coalescence?
he did at the beginning.
We did that in the beginning. What I'd like to do is just really have everybody introduce themselves, and then we'll pass this over to Kiyun, who, as dramaturg, will kind of act as the moderator. I'm not so sure of the order of people here. Rachel, will you introduce yourself first?
Yeah. Hi. My name is Rachel Hetrick. I am the Associate Executive Director of Coalescence Theater Project and the Screen Manager for Requiem for a Brother. I'm a graduate of ISU as well.
And Zena.
Hi, my name is Zenon Zamora. I'm a junior at Illinois State University, and I played Hayden in Requiem for a Brother.
Paul.
Hi, my name is Paul Christopher. I'm the director of Requiem for a Brother and a student in the MFA directing program at ISU.
Asia.
Hi, my name is Aisha Maria Rangel, and I played Nazneen in Requiem for a Brother.
Kim, you can introduce yourself again if you'd like.
But there are other people who need to be introduced, right?
We'll get to them.
Okay, I'm Kim Pereira, and I wrote this thing. I teach at ISU. I teach acting at ISU. I'm just very grateful to this wonderful artistic team.
Jeff.
Hi, my name is Jeff Reedy. I'm a townie of Bloomington. I play men's chorus leader in Requiem for a Brother. And I want to take a quick second to congratulate Kim on being appointed to the board of Coalescence Theater. It's a pleasure to have you.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Shahrzad.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shahrzad Hamza, and I played Basima in the play. And I recently just graduated from ISU with a master's in theater studies.
Robert.
I'm Robert Quinlan, and I played Governor Parker.
I'll introduce myself too. My name is Don Chandra. I'm the artistic director of Coalescence Theater Project. I want to thank the whole cast. This was a wonderful production. And I want to thank you, Kim, for bringing the play to us to produce. Kiyun, I'm going to let you introduce yourself, and then you can take over as the moderator.
Great, thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Kiyun Nam. I'm a faculty member in the School of Theater and Dance at Illinois State University, and I'm also the dramaturg on Requiem for a Brother. I think that with the addition of the video and all of the nifty technical elements, this almost feels like a full production, but we started this process intending it to be a workshop so that Kim, the playwright, can continue to develop the play after working with a group of actors and a director and hearing it out loud. And having been a part of new play development processes before, I think what I found useful as a dramaturg working on that is maybe to ask everyone what they remember the most about the story that they just experienced. If you're watching on YouTube, if you want to just leave a comment, it can be just a short phrase. It can be what you identify as maybe the themes of the play, moments or lines that stand out to you. I think it's useful for a playwright to know what really sticks in people's minds. So while that's going on, maybe us here, we can talk a little bit about what this process has been like. So we have rehearsed for about 2 weeks, right? Like not every day, but we've worked on this for about 2 weeks. So Paul, maybe you can start us off. Could you just kind of walk us through what that process of working on this play was like from your end?
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So we actually started talking about this in March, I think. Was it late February even? That was when we got together and we decided to put this together, and we worked out all the dates and so forth. So we've actually been working on it for a couple of months now. In between other projects. But then, yes, you're right. We decided to look at the technical elements and get them worked out as early as possible. We tracked down people to take part in it, and ended up with a very wonderful group of actors. Thank you. And then just basically started the rehearsal process last week, 3 days last week, 3 days this week, and getting everything together and putting together the recorded segments mixed with the live segments, and having coordinating between all that, which was actually quite complicated. And thank you, Rachel, for doing pretty much all of that. And doing the sound mixing, the video editing. We had Dion, who was great for that. Thank you if he's watching now. And basically just getting to grips with the ideas in the play as far as rehearsal goes, and because it was such a compressed process, looking at the language, the wonderful language written by Kim, and putting that together, and just trying to find the ideas for each character that they were all trying to follow. As myself, as someone who teaches English literature as well as theater, and has a background in text analysis, it's very important for me for people involved in a show to really get to grips with the meanings behind the words, and then use that to drive everything forward. So that was a big part of my process.
Mm-hmm.
Does that answer the question? No?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was a very compressed process, but having observed rehearsals from a separate room, it was a little weird because there are only a certain amount of people who can be on StreamYard at the same time. So it's kind of like watching rehearsals from a two-way mirror. But I was really struck by just, even in that short amount of time, how many new discoveries were made, and new things that I learned about this play that I have known. I've read early drafts that go as far back as 2019, and yet still there are new things that strike me. There are new things that I felt tonight that I hadn't really fully considered before. So maybe I can open this question up to the cast. What are some things that you've discovered in rehearsal, as maybe these are discoveries even tonight that you made? What are some things that you have found in the play that you didn't know when you first read through the play and you started working on your role?
Well, I'm very interested in how the characters seem quite sure of themselves during confrontations, and sure about their righteousness and how right they are. But then you do see these moments of doubt, or for Parker, these moments of this kind of humanity where he thinks about the human being, even though his driving principle is law and order, and that there are these moments where people kind of shove aside those doubts with the chorus in order to kind of singly pursue the thing that they want, which in my case, it leads to a horrible, horrible end.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me personally, the first time that I read through this play, I really had to read through it very quickly because this role was offered to me the day before rehearsal started, and I didn't receive the script until the day of, or 5 a.m. the night before, something crazy like that. And so I had to go through very, very quickly just to get a grasp of who Nazneen was and what the story was. And it was just, at first Nazneen came off to me as just this very independent, straightforward, knows what she has to get done person. And I think she very much is that woman, but there's this very vulnerable side to her because she feels so alone and she can't trust anyone. That was really interesting for me to dig into in the rehearsal process, and thankfully with the help of Paul and everything, to see how much she had to just grab on the very deep inside of herself to portray that front of her strength. I have no more strength left, but I still have to give it all I have because I'm so determined to do this for my family. That was the process for me and Nazneen.
I think this process has been about really appreciating the subtleties and the complexities that Kim has written into each of these characters. And for me tonight, at least, I think it was there all along, right? This is a play that's an adaptation of an ancient Greek tragedy. The tragedy is something that really emerged for me tonight and made me realize that it's not just that characters die in the end that make it a tragedy, it's how they die and what state they're in, right, when they can meet their demise. I do see that there are some questions that are coming in, but I want to just give others just a chance to respond to just the process. Kim, if you'd like to share thoughts about what has changed maybe for you through this workshop production, you can share that with us as well.
Oh, yeah, so much. I have such a different understanding of the play now, and as both Asia and Robert said, the doubts and the vulnerabilities that I thought I had written came through much more clearly when I was watching this happen. Do you know what I mean? Because as Robert put it, you can think of these characters as being completely confident, and then their confidence in their exterior start to break down slowly, you know. And I liked that a lot. Also with the even Basima started to question certain things. You could see that exterior, even though she seemed more confident because she was terrified of what was happening to her. Yes. So there are all kinds of interesting nuances, and you're right, Kyun. The nuances today, you know, because they clipped along so well, and Nazneen set the pace early on, and it just kept moving. You know, it was very nice to see.
Anyone else want to share something before we move on to some of the questions? Okay, so I'll read the first question. This seems to be a question for Kim. What was the driving factor behind keeping the chorus a traditional group character in a modern day setting?
Yes, that I tussled with that, and I kept adding to it and taking away from it. But I wanted to keep the flavor of the Greek choruses. But in a modern day setting, they started to represent, which is why I had two different choruses. They started to represent two different factions in American society today. Together, they represent the divide in many ways, and that's why I wanted to keep it, because one of the things that I've sort of noticed and I wanted to address in this play today was the group nature of the divide. How people are, there's almost a mob mentality on each side of any issue, you know, and so I wanted to try to capture that, and so that's why I did that.
Maybe as a follow-up, Jeff, could you talk a little bit about your experience playing the male chorus leader? You've had to do all of your acting through your voice, right? You couldn't show your face. What was that process like?
When I first started doing it, it was really kind of strange, something new I'd never really tried before. But I did find, first off, Paul was really lenient and letting me just explore a little bit, and kind of going back to what you were asking previously about what we found as we played it. I tried it several different ways. You know, is my character intentionally racist, or is he, you know, just having racist thoughts, you know, that are clouded, where he doesn't realize the racist, or is he actually, you know, that is his intent? So I played it several different ways, and it was a lot of fun. Just trying the different levels, emphasis in different places, and it was a new experience, one that I really liked.
Yeah, Paul.
Yeah, if I could just speak to that as well. For me, the idea of, I think, keeping the Greek chorus element of it, as Kim said, that represents his factions, and I think if you say rewrote it and had it as a single character, it would lose some of that sort of menace, I think. And so this idea that it has this mystery to it, when you have this cluster of individuals that pop in, and everything sort of becomes kind of surreal at that point. And so I think that embodies that larger picture version of it. And if it's just a single character, or even a small group of individual characters that are fleshed out like everybody else, rather than these choral figures, then you become questioning of just them as individuals rather than what they represent in the larger face of things. So.
I'd also like to add to that, if I may, and that is that the way I wrote it, these choruses are supposed to be in masks. So the masks create that the group element as well as the individuality, because they my stage directions say that the choruses can respond either in chorus or individually as well, but we couldn't do that here, and so that's why both the choruses, the male chorus was supposed to be in white half masks, and the female chorus had to be in colored half masks.
We actually have another question that addresses the merging of
right.
and modern.
Is that Ron's?
Yes. Let me read the comment. It's a comment and a question. The play mirrored the original text so beautifully while still feeling modern and not an updated chamber. Kim, did you always know that you wanted to have the deaths on stage instead, If so, why? I mean, referring to it in
the
Greek
Greek
times, right?
Yeah, and I know why Ron's asked. I know why Ron's asking, because we talked about this in the class that we took together. I think where I've always believed that that the Greeks understood beautifully how poetry works and messengers and things like that. In a modern context, I didn't know I was going to have it right at the beginning. It happened organically, Ron. So what I found was that the play is a series of debates between so many people. There's a lot of talking and of conversation, and a lot of fights through the conversation. I wanted to have an explosive action as well to top it off. So it's building to a conflagration within the play, and that's why I decided to have.
You're mute.
You just muted yourself, Kim.
It's been my class. So. So I wanted to have, that's why I wanted to have it, because it's very modern, and I wanted to also, it would have taken too much to try to relate the action as far as the police are concerned. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather show that on stage. Yeah.
It does feel like a very, it surprises you, right? If you think about the kind of rhythm that you set up in the beginning of the play, to suddenly have this very active confrontation and this situation that's happening spontaneously. It is a jarring shift. So we have a couple of comments. The tragedy seems to come from the extreme and unyielding values of both groups. Both are sure of themselves, but the values seem to come from different places. And then Wole Soyinka said of his Death and the King's Horseman that it wasn't about a clash of cultures, but rather a tragedy of both cultures. Was that a similar goal for this play?
I guess it must have been. I also directed Death and the King's Horseman years ago, so it probably seeped in. Do you know what I mean? So good on you for picking up on that. But yes, I think it is a tragedy of both cultures. I think America today is a tragedy of both cultures, and that's what I was trying to get at. And so, so thank you for that.
Does anyone have any thoughts about this idea of this kind of like collision, right, of two forces, two viewpoints that just like there's no way of like finding compromise, like, and that being the driving force of the tragedy? Thoughts about that, Paul?
Yeah, that's actually one of the things that really attracted me to this play, was the what happens when people stop listening to each other. And, you know, it's all about that certainty that you are absolutely correct and everybody else is wrong. And I think that's a huge problem, and has been a huge problem throughout human history, but is still a huge problem now. And I think that's what, again, what is such a fascinating part of this play for me, is that ambiguity at the heart of it. The idea that you know, if everybody just calmed down and listened to each other, maybe they could compromise. But compromise seems to become a dirty word now. So it's
I was also fascinated, started writing the play, to discover how much the original Greek play mirrors our society, because these two factions don't want to listen to it. They fight again, and they're from the same family, you see, Antigone and her uncle Creon. And I started to realize how interestingly it mirrored what we're going through today.
Zenon, did you have something that you wanted to say?
Yeah, it was just when you were mentioning these two forces that are on a collision course, I felt that when I was playing Hayden, because on one hand, I have my girlfriend who is trying to do something, but I also have my dad trying to like be the opposite against each other. And I was the one who said, why not you meet and, you know, try to find, you know, balance or a compromise basically between the two of them. And that is what ultimately became like the downfall and caused the death of the two of us. After her conversation, Governor Parker decided to go full on with the arrest.
But isn't it interesting that the person who tries to compromise kills himself, and the other person was killed by someone else?
Mm-hmm. And that also comes back to what an idea that I had about, well, you know, if you're in between these two giant forces that are going to collide, you're going to get squished.
Right. Yeah. Hayden is a casualty. Right?
He is a casualty of war.
It's an unstoppable force against an unmovable object.
Jeff, did you have something that you wanted?
Yeah, I just wanted to chime in real quick. What I thought was brilliantly written into it is when Governor Parker actually at one point starts to come, like Paul had said, compromise in our modern society is such a dirty word, where he starts to come to that compromise that maybe this isn't such, okay, maybe she has a point, and then he gets pulled completely the other way. So I thought it was just brilliantly written to show that. To showcase that.
I think that the same balance actually exists for Nazneen, and I think the whole reason the conflict arises is she's like, what makes me American enough? And that's really the balance between her and her families, and being a first generational American myself, I just think that's such a very prevailing thing for other ethnic young people right now, is like, what makes us American enough? You know what I mean? And so, I could see that balance and that compromise that she's going through too, because she wants to be American enough, but she also wants to be proud of, where she comes from, and, everything like that, and blaming white America and everything. So, very, very much prevalent for Nazneen as well.
And not just young ethnic people, but old ethnic people as well. Constantly trying to figure out.
Young because Nazneen is young.
No, and you are young, absolutely. But I was only adding to what you were saying, not disputing it at all. It's a very well made point. This. And the other part of it is, yes, Nazneen is single-minded and focused, but in the ultimate analysis, she and her brother were both victims of circumstances, victims of this xenophobia and Islamophobia that is sweeping the world right now.
I mean, on that note, we do have a comment that addresses maybe the play's resonances beyond the U.S. Clash of Cultures is a global issue of not being willing to listen. This play speaks of current tragedies across the globe, currently India too.
Yes, you're right, Priya. It does. It's we're seeing that played out in so many ways, and of course, it's always played out that way. Good point. Very good point. Thank you.
One of the things that struck me since we started production of this play about a month ago was it's always been timely, but even in some ways, as our production has gone, it's become more timely as we've had more discussions about police brutality, as France has tried to ban the hijab for women, and it's really resonated throughout the news. The news has resonated in this work and then back and reflected each other to me. So it's been a very interesting time to produce this play, at least for me.
And the hijab being banned was predated as well by the turban being banned. In Canada they banned the turban because with the mounted police, all of that sort of thing. Yeah.
Maybe to just wrap up, Kim, what do you have planned next? So what's on the horizon?
There are a couple of things that I have planned. I don't know how far they'll work, but I'm, as you know, I wrote a song called "We Are Immigrants," and based on that, I'm thinking of doing some kind of either a mixtape or a short musical about the political situation. Immigrants. I'm fascinated by the idea that the possibility of the next two candidates for president might both be of Indian origin and might both be women, Kamala Harris and Nikki Haley. So I'm interested, but there's another play that I've already started writing, and that's set in a refugee camp. So I'm trying to explore what goes on in a refugee camp, and there's some conflicts emerging there as well. So that's where I'm headed next.
We also have to congratulate Kim on his retirement.
Oh yes, I'm retiring. Thank you. Yes. Now I have more time to write and eat.
So
look going to show up on your doorstep for food, Kim, I'm telling you.
So look forward to many more plays by Kim Ferreira.
Thank you. Thank you. And without you and Don, it won't be possible. So I'm grappling you to my soul with hoops of steel.
right. Well, thank you all so much for sticking around for this talkback. Yeah, thank you for being our audience.
I'll just say a few things before we go. Not a few things, just a couple. First of all, I want to point you to the Coalescence Theater Project Facebook page. Like us, learn about us, and what we're doing. We are finally going to be moving into the 21st century, maybe the 20th century, by putting together a website. So we will have a website by next week. And we do have a season. You heard what the season is going to be. Come and learn a little bit more about what that season is going to entail. There's some exciting things being done. And we thank you for coming. We thank this cast. We thank the crew, the staff, everybody involved with putting this play together for Coalescence Theater Project. Thank you all.
Thanks very much.